In a quiet little town, surrounded by dark woods, there lived a young artist named Victor. He was known for paintings, portraits so beautiful and lifelike that people would stop and stare in amazement. But there was something strange about Victor. Every woman he painted seemed to disappear shortly after. Victor lived in an old crumbling house on the edge of the forest. People whispered about him, saying his studio was cursed. Some claimed they saw shadows moving inside when no one should have been there. Others said they heard faint cries coming from the house late at night. One day, a young woman named Clara moved to the town. Clara was curious and brave, always wanting to learn the truth about things. When she heard about Victor and his mysterious paintings, she decided to visit him. Clara knocked on Victor's door, and he opened it with a strange, quiet smile. "Come in," he said. His voice is calm but cold. Inside the studio was filled with portraits of women. The paintings were stunning, but they gave Clara an uneasy feeling. It seemed like the eyes in the paintings were watching her silently, begging for help. "Can I paint you?" Victor asked, his piercing gaze fixed on Clara. "You have a beauty I must capture forever." Clara fled. A chill ran down her spine. Something about Victor wasn't right, but her curiosity got the better of her, and she agreed. The next day, Clara returned to Victor's studio. He worked silently, his brush moving quickly across the canvas. The room felt heavy and cold, and Clara couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. The eyes in the other painting seemed darker now, almost sad. As Victor painted, Clara thought she heard whispers, soft, faint voices calling out to help. "Help us," they seemed to say. She turned to look at Victor, but he was focused on his work, his face expressionless. When Victor finally finished, he stepped back and smiled. "Perfect," he said softly. Clara stood up to look at the painting, but what she saw made her heart race. The eyes in her portraits looked terrified, like they were screaming for help. Before Clara could speak, Victor grabbed her wrist. His voice was low and cold as he said, "To complete my masterpiece, I need your soul." Clara gasped and tried to pull away, but Victor was strong. She looked around and spotted a small knife on a table. Grabbing it, she slashed at Victor's arm, forcing him to let go. As he stumbled back, she saw a lit candle nearby with trembling hand. She knocked it over onto a curtain. The fire spread quickly, flames licking at the walls and the paintings. Victor screamed, his voice mixing with the sound of the burning portraits. Clara ran toward the door, the whisper in the room growing louder. "Run!" they urged her. She burst out into the cold night, her heart pounding behind her. The studio was full of flames, the fire lighting up the dark sky. Clara watched as the house burned, feeling a mix of fear and relief. The townspeople arrived the next morning to find the house reduced to ashes. Among the ruins, they found items belonging to the missing women, bracelets, necklaces, and scarves. Victor was never seen again, but some says his spirit still roams the woods, searching for his next victim. As for the portraits, it's said that if you visit the ruins on a quiet night, you can still see the eyes of a painted woman staring out from the darkness, silently begging for freedom. Clara left the town soon after, but the memory of Victor's cold eyes and the terrified faces in his paintings stayed with her forever.